of the EATON YALE rally sprint is there. The fastest man after practice is rally driver number 6 Tony Pond in the Triumph TR7, which is identical to all the others. 1 minute 40.25 his time. In the middle of the front rank, the fastest Grand Prix driver, 4 times Grand Prix winner this year, Alan Jones, 1 minute 40.89. And third fastest, another Grand Prix driver, John Watson, 1 minute 41.38. Then Ari Vatanen, Patrick Torbay, Per Eklund, John Taylor and Jochen Maas as away they go down to Redgate Lodge, the right-hander. All these cars are producing some 110 horsepower, 5-speed gearboxes, and they will do about 110 miles an hour. And leading into the right-hander, it is Alan Jones, and going very wide indeed in the white car, that's Tony Pond, who was fastest in practice. So it's Alan Jones leading away down Hollywood, and this is a very fast section, as you can see. The circuit is dry, although it was damp earlier on. And Alan Jones, number 7, 32-year-old Grand Prix driver who lives in Ealing, London, is in the lead as they go up towards Starkey's Bridge, underneath Starkey's Bridge on this magnificent Alton Park circuit on which owner Tom Week Donington circuit. And there is Alan Jones leading as they go into the right-hander of McLean's, and off goes Pond. And there is Tony Pond off already and dug deep. His race is finished. He's dug deep into that special aggregate which protects the cars, but there's no way at Donington today that Tony Pond is going to get back into this race as the leaders go away down Starkey Straight towards the chicane, and it's Alan Jones leading on lap 1 of this 10-lap race, and you can see how close it is. And tucked right up behind him, that's John Taylor in second position. Rally driver, John Taylor. And Jones off, but he's regained the circuit, regained it as he goes over the line, and that's how close it is. 1 lap completed, into lap 2 in this 10-lap race, and John Taylor challenging as they go up to Redgate Lodge, and he's got the inside line, and he definitely takes the lead. Alan Jones driving right down the outside, but he's on a wider line, so he's lost the lead, and it's rally driver then, John Taylor in the lead from Grand Prix driver Alan Jones. And in third position it's Patrick Torbay, the Grand Prix driver in the maroon TR7. So, lap 2. John Taylor, Alan Jones, up to Starkey's Bridge at Donington. 2 miles, just under 2 miles, the lap length, and it's 10 laps of this race. And Patrick Torbay is starting to close up a bit on Alan Jones. Patrick Torbay in second position as they go into McLean's. From McLean's up to Coppice, the right-hander. There's Per Eklund in third position and spinning off and right off altogether in the blue car. That's number 2, John Watson, who was before in fourth position. Back onto the race, onto Tom Wheatcroft's grass. Tom Wheatcroft, the circuit owner, is very proud of his grass and he won't like that very much. So John Watson well down now, and the leaders down to the chicane at the end of lap 2. Alan Jones going through on the inside and taking the lead from John Taylor. So Grand Prix driver Alan Jones, 4 times winner of Grand Prix this year in the Saudia Williams car, is leading at the end of lap 2. Into lap 3, and look how close it is with Alan Jones just ahead of John Taylor. John Taylor, Ford Works driver from Alcombe in Kent, ex-steeplechaser, scratch golfer, 38 years old, Irish tarmac rally champion of 1978, driving on tarmac and challenging the Grand Prix ace Alan Jones. Up to Starkey's Bridge. All these cars at the moment are personally owned by the promoter of this EATON YALE rally sprint, and that's Nick Britton. He's bought all these cars himself, and when this race is finished, he is going to have them auctioned. and he's hoping desperately that none of them will bend. There's one that looks all right. It's Jochen Maas, who is out of the race. The German Grand Prix driver out of the race as the first, second, third and fourth go through.
That's what it is. So Jochen Maas has had to pull out of the race. As John Taylor, the other yellow car...
Into lap 5, and look at Taylor harrying the leader, Alan Jones, and trying to find a way past, and Alan Jones calmly moves over at Redgate Lodge, and John Taylor seizes his moment, gets his car on the inside, and that's a beautiful tactical move, and if Jones doesn't keep it going, and he's done so, I was going to say he will be into the aggregate and out of the race. Now, that was a magnificent harrying move by John Taylor, who has taken the lead. John Taylor, rally driver, 38 years old, who has retired from rallying. Now it looks as though he might well take up tarmac racing, circuit racing. So now we should really be seeing something, because we're on lap 5 out of 10. Alan Jones, who led on the first 4 laps, is down to 4th position. John Taylor leading, change for 2nd place, it looks like, as they come up to the chicane. Patrick Tombay going through on the inside of Per Eklund and taking 2nd position as Alan Jones closes right up on the Swedish driver. So, number 5, Patrick Tombay, 5 laps. That's half distance completed, and look at Alan Jones in the green TR7. He's in 4th position at the moment, and he's doing to Tombay and Eklund what Watson did to him. But as one, they go round the right-hander at Redgate, and it's Tombay in 2nd position, and off goes Taylor. But he's still in the lead. No, he's not. It looks as though Tombay is going to go through and take the lead, and he's done so. So now a new leader on lap 6, Patrick Tombay, and Alan Jones up into 2nd position, John Watson down to 3rd position, and John Taylor down to 3rd position, and in 4th position as they go round the right-hander now. There he is, and it's Per Eklund, the bearded Swedish driver, as they go under Starkey's. Patrick Tombay in the lead from Alan Jones, then John Taylor, then Per Eklund. Patrick Tombay, the Marlborough McLaren works driver for 1979, although he won't be driving for Marlborough McLaren in 1980. He's going to be changing his team allegiance. So, significantly now, it is Grand Prix drivers in the first 2 places. Number 5, 29-year-old Patrick Tombay, the Frenchman from Cannes, leading, but is he going to now, as they go into the chicane, because Alan Jones has got the inside line, and he's holding it, and he's through, and he's retaken the lead. Alan Jones, number 7.
Right, so number 7,
with homes in London and California. Lap 7 out of 10. There are the first 4. A new leader again, because Alan Jones, who was harried off the circuit by John Taylor, has fought his way back from 4th position into the lead. Patrick Tombay is 2nd. John Taylor, who went off at Redgate on the previous lap, waves his hand as he goes round Redgate in 3rd position ahead of Per Eklund. Watson is well down. The leader then is Alan Jones in the green TR7. Patrick Tombay in the maroon TR7. John Taylor in the yellow Triumph TR7 in 3rd place ahead of Per Eklund, number 3 in the brown TR7. Coming up Coppice Wood into the Plains at Donington, home of the superb Donington Racing Car Museum, which is just on the driver's left as they go along the circuit here now. Starkey straight down to the chicane. This is the end of lap 7. Coming out of Coppice now into Starkey Straight. Alan Jones leading Tombay. Tombay trying to get through on the inside as Alan Jones did on the last lap, and he's succeeding. He's got his nose just far enough ahead and see the near side front wheel lock up. And Patrick Tombay, with 35 Grand Prix behind him, takes the lead. The 1977 Can-Am champion completes the lap and into lap 8 out of 10, and it's still anybody's race between these four, and Alan Jones challenges at Redgate and retakes the lead from Torbay. Alan Jones winding on the lock, and Torbay goes through on the inside as Alan Jones drifts wide and goes across the circuit in front of John Taylor. And Taylor taking second place, Jones down to third, Per Eklund right behind him, and Patrick Torbay pulling out a bit of a gap as the second, third and fourth fight each other and take up the circuit and slow themselves down. This is Patrick Torbay's chance to get away as number 4, John Taylor, is in second place. Alan Jones gets his wheels on the grass and tries to go through and retake second place as they go underneath Starkey's Bridge, and does so. And Per Eklund, the Swedish driver, 33-year-old from Arvika in Sweden, is in fourth position still. Torbay, of course, will not be worried by Jones because he's seen a lot of this in Grand Prix driving as they come up to Coppice, and he's just taking up enough of the circuit, I suspect, to make it. And Per Eklund through to third position. Number 3, Per Eklund, has displaced John Watson, who may be in trouble. John Taylor, I noticed Taylor waving his hand off the steering wheel to the rear window as Jones comes through. Taylor down to fourth position, Jones looking as though he's nudging Torbay, and down to the chicane. Now this is the start of the last lap.
In the lead once more, Patrick Torbay in second place. Torbay has dropped about 2 lengths as a result of that manoeuvre.
Last lap. And now the battle's well and truly on. Grand Prix driver Alan Jones leads Grand Prix driver Patrick Torbay. Per Eklund, the rally driver, is in third position, and John Taylor, rally driver, is in fourth place. 40 points for the winner at the end of this race before they go on to the 2 rallycross legs later on. Starkey's, they're into Coppice Wood, then Eklund still third, and look at Torbay challenging Jones, and Jones frantically winding on the lock, left lock there. Now they're up to the right-hander at Coppice, then into the Starkey Straight, and this race is going to be decided at the chicane, which they're coming into now at the end of the Starkey Straight, with Per Eklund still in third position and John Taylor still in fourth position. Alan Jones leading, Patrick Torbay second. Now they're down to the chicane. Chicane, this is it. Can Torbay do anything about it? It must be no, unless Jones drifts out wide. Eklund third, Taylor fourth. The checkered flag, and the circuit race in the rally sprint has been won by Alan Jones. Second place, Patrick Torbay, very close for third. I reckon it was Eklund with Taylor fourth.
Well, it was so close to third place, it was a dead heat. Well, those are the points position after the 10-lap road race. Grand Prix drivers in command at the moment. Alan Jones with 40 points, Torbay with 36. Then the 2 rally drivers, Eklund and Taylor, with that dead heat. Both with...
So, as the sprint stages start over the rally part of the course, it is 2 Grand Prix drivers in the lead. Alan Jones with 40 points, Patrick Torbay with 36 points. Then the 2 rally drivers, Per Eklund and John Taylor, tying in third position and 30 points. A rally driver, Vartanen, a Grand Prix driver, Watson, a Grand Prix driver, Jochen Maas, and Tony Pond, who spun off with only 12 points. And now the rally drivers have definitely, because they are used to these cars and the Grand Prix drivers are not. They are used to these circuits and the Grand Prix drivers are not. And first away is 26-year-old Ari Vartanen in his sponsored Ford, and that's a 240 horsepower car and tremendous power, and he goes up to a left-hand bend when he goes away from there, and then there's a long straight over the hill, and then there to a right-hander onto a water section, and Ari Vartanen, who has recently won the Cyprus Rally and was the British Rally Champion of 1976, beats his car sideways. Adrian Brown in the passenger seat alongside him. Now there's a long, fast drag up a fairly shallow hill, and you can see them go over the crest, but course marked by tyres. Now downhill, He's got to fling it right-handed round this bend here. This is where the art and skill of a rally driver really comes into its own. Displacing tyres, very, very slippery on that section here. And now swinging left, Ari Vartan, British driver from Tupovara, an enormous number of international successes, recovering now from a very nasty back injury last year. And he has recovered by virtue of the fact that he has won the Cyprus Rally, and that's a big one. The water splash, and that's where one of the cars drowned its engine very badly this morning, that of Per Eklund, who finished in third place on the circuit, and that could easily happen again. Now they're on the grass section, almost at the end, and it takes about 1 minute 45 seconds to do this rally stage, which is very typical of the sort of forest stages that you get in the major rallies, like the RAC, the Welsh, the Scottish, and so on. Ari Vartanen then, almost at the end of the stage, and they have to do this in reverse later on, and the cars are changed over, and the Grand Prix drivers will be sharing cars with the rally drivers, and so that's completed for Ari Vartanen, a time of 1 minute 39 seconds, and that's the challenge that faces the next driver. And Simon Taylor is down there ready to interview the next driver, who is John Watson.
1 minute 39 seconds, John Watson. That's the time you've got to beat. It's an unusual cockpit for you. How does it feel in there?
Did you ever hear the story about the Irish rally driver? Well, that's how it feels right now.
All right, John, you're going to look out for the hand of Nick Britton, so I'll get out of your way.
And I don't think we'd better finish the story of the Irish rally driver. John Watson, Grand Prix driver in Tony Pond's 240 horsepower Talbot Sunbeam, a car which of course he's totally unused to. He's not driven in this sort of going, in this sort of car before, but John Watson from Bognor Regis, 15 years in Grand Prix with 94 of them behind him. And he won in Austria in 1977. He's going to give it a go in rally stage driving. And you can see the difference in technique between the top rally drivers like Ari Vartanen and the drivers from Grand Prix who are totally unused to these conditions, because the cars can get very out of shape very quickly with the power that goes down through those rear wheels into the water splash. John Watson gets it through nicely, eases up just enough to avoid getting water into the engine compartment and drown the ignition. Through he goes onto the grass, very slippery under the wheels there. Into the left-hander, hard left all the way round. And John Watson flooring the accelerator, almost home at the end of this stage of the EATON Yale Rally Sprint. And Tony Pond will be driving this car later on this afternoon. This is the man, Tony Pond, who normally drives this car. He's handed it over to Grand Prix driver John Watson, who did not do at all well in the circuit section, finished in 6th position. And John Watson quicker, amazingly, than Ari Vartanen, 1 minute 38 seconds. So John Watson, after 2 runs, in the lead, and it's a Grand Prix driver leading. Watch the driver who is sitting on the right of the car as you look at it, because it's a left-hand drive, Triumph TR7 V8, and it's the brilliant Swedish driver Per Eklund from Arvika in Switzerland, the man who won the Escadapid rally sprint earlier on this year in a car exactly the same as this, and his challenge, 1 minute 38, John Watson. Now downhill, Per Eklund, the man who has driven a lot for Saab in Sweden. He's driven the Lancia Stratos, he's driven the Fiat Ritmo, and he's been in this sort of going for 15 years, and if this isn't a quicker time, I will be very surprised indeed. First in the Swedish rally, ex-Swedish champion for Porsche, and as I say, he's absolutely tops on this sort of going, as he demonstrated in our rally sprint event earlier on this year at Escadapi. Through the water splash, and that was what stopped him before, and it looks as though it's stopping him again, and it has. Tragedy for Per Eklund. Exactly the same thing has happened in this competitive run has happened to him in practice. What happened there was that the number plate came off the front of the car, and we're looking at Malcolm Foley actually, who is in the passenger seat. You can just see Per Eklund's hands on the left-hand side of the car, operating the steering wheel. Continental driver, continental position. There he is through the back window. And so Per Eklund has completely destroyed his chances. You see Alan Jones's name on the side of the car. That is because Alan Jones, as the Grand Prix driver, will later be driving this car, which in this run has been conducted by Per Eklund. Very unsuccessfully, as you can see. Drowned engine, as he had in practice. And that means that Per Eklund is effectively out of the running, because unless he is given an extra time, he's out of this stage. There's nothing he can do to retrieve the position when he goes in the reverse direction, and that really is tragedy for Sweden's Per Eklund, because he finished equal third in the circuit part of this rally sprint event, and engine running again. Well, it's going to be about a 5-minute time, I should think, the way he's going at the moment. But, of course, it's always possible that Per Eklund is not going to be the only driver to drown his engine on this stage. That's what that water splash is there for, to challenge them, to get the combination of speed, momentum, direction right without drowning the engine. And Per Eklund did not succeed in doing so. And look at the way he goes now. Watch the suspension on that TR-78. Oh, what a pity. Per going so very, very quickly there. And that's 2:56.7. Well out of contention. And that means then that John Watson is still the quickest. Will he still be? Because that is 38-year-old John Taylor, ex-rallycross champion of Europe in 1973 in the Haynes 240 horsepower Ford Escort. John Taylor then. And John is a very, very determined character. At his best on tarmac in rallies, but very good on the loose stuff too. And this could almost be his swan song event, because he is retiring from rallying at the end of this year after a very successful career, and a very successful career particularly in rally. John Taylor is certainly going very, very quickly indeed on this stage. Into rallies in 1974, and that is the way John Taylor reckons you should take the water splash, and the fact that he is right is demonstrated by the fact that he keeps going. See the windscreen wipers going, clearing the mixture of mud and water off the screen as he goes. Really swings it round into that left hand, accelerates away. And at the water splash, John Taylor is 2 seconds faster than John Watson was. So it looks as though we're going to have a very, very quick time indeed. And this could be the target for the competitors after John Taylor, and there are still 5 of them as he goes under the start and finish banner. .4 is the time, 1:32.4, and that is very, very quick indeed. In fact, it is some 6 seconds faster, 6.2 seconds faster, as Patrick Tombay, Grand Prix driver, who is in Ari Martinen's Escort. That's the car that you saw going first today. Tombay on the left, because it's a left-hand drive car. Grand Prix driver Patrick Tombay, third in the European Formula 2 Championship in 1975 and 76. Marlborough McLaren team driver this year. He's had a disastrous year, as a result of which he is said to be out of the Marlborough McLaren team for 1980. And he, like John Watson, being a Grand Prix driver, is totally unused to these conditions, but he's making a very good fist of them indeed. Patrick Torbay from Cannes in France. 240 horsepower there under Patrick Torbay's foot. He's used to a lot more than that through the water splash. He's used to nearly 500 horsepower when he's normally driving in Grand Prix in single-seaters, but this is indeed a very different kettle of fish. So the target, John Taylor, 132.4. I don't think that Patrick Torbay is any real challenge to John Taylor. He shouldn't be, to be fair to him, because he just hasn't got the experience that Taylor has. But it is as Torbay goes under the banner, his time 1 minute 35.8 seconds, and that actually makes him second fastest so far, and that's no mean achievement. Now, Tony Pond down there and Simon Taylor.
1 minute 32 seconds. That's what you've got to beat, Tony Pond. You're going to get any trouble from John Taylor's time in the Escort.
That sounds like a very good time, so we'll have to try pretty hard, I think.
Tony Pond then looking out for the sign.
Big Britain, the promoter of the event, gives the signal to Tony Pond. His target, 1 minute 32.4 seconds. His car, the Talbot Sunbeam, front engine, rear wheel drive, with Rob Golding alongside him. Tony Pond, a man who has driven in so many international rallies, very keen motorcyclist. First in the Ypres rally last year, first in the Manx rally last year, first in the Granite rally last year, all in Triumph TR7 V8 cars, because he drove for British Leyland last year. Transferred his allegiance to Talbot this year. Has not had the best of luck. And over the tyres, which lost him a bit of time, and more importantly, nearly threw the car onto its side in the process. And Tony Pond is shooting for the target time. Fastest so far today, John Taylor, 32.4. Second fastest Grand Prix driver, Patrick Torbay. And that means that John Taylor, who was 10 points behind Alan Jones and Patrick Torbay, is very well up in the running. But then so too is Torbay, in terms of points for both the circuit around Donington here and the first rally stage section. Pond nearly losing it. And the target, 1 minute 32.4. 1 minute 32.2. Tony Pond, 0.2 of a second faster than John Taylor, goes into the lead. But not all that much encouragement for him, because Tony Pond did not finish on the circuit, as a result of which he only got 12 points. So, with Torbay having done particularly well, third fastest, with John Taylor second fastest to Tony Pond, John Taylor must be in the lead on aggregate, or very, very close to it at the present moment, although the joker, in a way, is how Alan Jones is going to do. But before Alan Jones, it's the West German Grand Prix driver, Jochen Maas, in John Taylor's Escort. The Escort in which John Taylor is so far second fastest. Jochen Maas has, as far as I know, never driven in anything like this before. He has as far as I know, never driven in anything like this before. He has passengered John Taylor in practice here today. He has had a practice run himself in this 240 horsepower Haynes Ford Escort, but he's completely new to rally stages, and he's doing extremely well indeed. That is a very difficult corner indeed. It is very wet and very slippery, and Jochen Maas is fearlessly slipping the car, giving it lots of welly on the right as he accelerates away left-hander, over the crest, sets it up again, soon to hit the water, and takes it very slowly and cautiously. He's through, which is more than Per Eklund can say, and that triumph is still being dried out as Jochen Maas goes away onto the grass, very tricky. This is the part that could catch him out if he gets this bend wrong, but he has not done so. Looking very, very relaxed indeed, this ex-merchant Navy sailor who has driven in just about every type of competitive circuit. Class, Formula 3, Formula 2, saloons, the great Porsche sports car ace, and all kinds of Grand Prix Formula 1 cars, 30s, McLaren, ATS, Shadow, and this year Arrows. First in the Spanish Grand Prix in 1975, and he finishes here. 1:38.2 seconds, 1:38.2 for Jochen Maas, and that is actually faster than his Grand Prix colleague John Watson. On the line, Alan Jones in the left-hand drive, Per Eklund, Triumph TR7 V8, and waiting to talk to him, Simon Taylor.
Alan, this is a pretty unusual situation for a Grand Prix driver to find himself in. Have you ever done anything like this before?
Well, I did the same thing last year, but you're quite right, it is an unusual situation.
In fact, your father used to do rallying as well as racing, did he not? Have you any ideas of following in his footsteps?
No, it's too muddy, it's too untidy.
Now, Per Eklund, who's the man who should really know how to drive this car, had some problems in his run and so far made the slowest time of the day. You're the current leader overall by winning the motor race, so how confident do you feel?
Well, I'm not very confident because I think the car's taking me for a ride half the time on this loose stuff.
But as a Formula 1 driver, are you happy to have the most powerful car here?
Oh yes, you can have the most powerful car, it's up to you how much you want to use it.
Okay, you've got 1 minute 32.2 seconds to beat Alan Jones. Off you go.
And Alan Jones can finish as low as 6th fastest and still be very well up because he has the 10-point lead after his brilliant drive in the circuit part of this rally sprint event. He's got that 300 horsepower TR7 V8 there. Alan Jones, despite his modesty, is a very, very capable driver, and the points in this rally stages section of the rally sprint event are different from the circuit because there are 20 points for the winner of each of the two rally stages legs, down to 6 points for 8th place. Alan Jones going well, and at the present moment the time is Tony Pond's time, 1 minute 32.2. The third fastest time that we have is Patrick Torbay, and he's the fastest Grand Prix driver, 1 minute 35.8. And Alan Jones, has he done it again like Per Eklund did? My goodness, he has, for the third time, and there is absolute despair from Brian James, Alan Jones's co-driver, because for the third time in practice, in the competitive run that Per Eklund did, and now in the competitive run that Alan Jones is trying to do, the water has found its way into the engine compartment of the Triumph TR7 V8, drowned the ignition and put it out of the running. So it looks as though that is the completion of the first runs on that direction of the rally stages part of the circuit, and that Tony Pond is fastest with his time of 1 minute 32.2, and the fastest rally driver, of course. Then in second position, John Taylor, 32.4, and the fastest Grand Prix driver in third place, Patrick Torbay, 1:35.8.
Now an update of the positions after the road race in that first rally stage. And in spite of that disaster, Alan Jones stays in third place. Torbay of France leads for the Grand Prix boys with 52 points. John Taylor of the rally team from Great Britain with 48, so it's very close. And Alan Jones, the Grand Prix.
Who was very unhappy with his time, which was only 6th fastest in the opposite direction, 1 minute 38.7, and Tony Pond has just done 1 minute 31.2. So there'll be a bit of needle here because Ari Vatanen, the Finnish driver, an ex-steamroller driver incidentally, will be as determined to beat Tony Pond, as Tony Pond was determined to be the fastest driver of all over this section. Pond in the Talbot Sunday, Ari Vartanen in the very powerful Ford Escort. Last season that Ford are officially supporting major rallies for the next 2 years because they're opting out to develop their new car, and Ari Vartanen driving in a works replica car here. 1 minute 31.2 is his target. Ari Vartanen only in 5th place on aggregate, so we still haven't seen the likely winners overall yet. Vartanen had trouble in the circuit race. He had real trouble in the first rally stage leg, and now he's coming very fast indeed on the descent to the right-hander. This is quick. He'll flick the car to the left now. Flips the tyres under the banner. Target 1 minute 31.2. 1:31.8 for Ari Vartanen, so he is second fastest to Tony Pond on this stage. Now the fastest car this afternoon over the rally stage, that of Tony Pond, but it's John Watson, the Grand Prix driver, driving it, and he is in 6th position on aggregate after the circuit race and the first rally stage with 32 points. And John Watson looking very much more confident than he was on the first run, although he was 5th fastest on the first rally stage run with a time of 1 minute 38.4, which is therefore his personal target, although the fastest time we have so far over this stage is Tony Pond in this car, 1 minute 31.2, and it looks to me as though Grand Prix driver John Watson is going very, very much quicker in this direction than he did in the opposite direction. John Watson from Bognor Regis, the Grand Prix driver with 15 years racing experience behind him, including 94 Grand Prix in that very distinctive crash helmet of his, red and silver, with the bridge piece across the front of his face. Much slower than Tony Pond to this point. 2 seconds slower, but that's quite a lot. So now up into the fast bit. When he gets over the crest here, really flying, he will drop downhill. You can see that the course conditions are just about perfect. Now, this is really quick. John Watson dropping down, and he really is motoring, close on 100 miles an hour here. And now with Sue Baker alongside him, and he's lost it. He flicked it in the wrong direction, but it's a lovely bit of driving. Wangs it into reverse, now forwards. John Watson completes the run in a time of 1 minute 41.4. Slower than his first run, but not surprising considering he spun off there, and it was a masterly recovery. Now the man, Per Eklund, in 4th place on aggregate. He's yet to do a proper run, and he must be very worried indeed, because this car was drowned in the opposite direction when Per Eklund went through the water splash. It was drowned in the opposite direction when Alan Jones went through the water splash, and it will be a grimly determined Per Eklund, grimly determined to avoid the water, which he's approaching now. As he goes across the grass, very soon he will be into the water, round the right-hander. Eklund keeping it going. Now is the challenge. Is he going to slow right down, or is he just going to go flat out? He's going to have a go, I think. No, he's not. Well, he's through, and he's kept it chiming, and there's an enormous cheer from the crowd, because they've gathered to see if it would happen, and he's doing exactly the same time as Tony Pond, who has been our fastest of all so far. 1:31.2. Per Eklund could finish on top of his form with a very, very quick run, which will be some recompense, and he finished in 4th position in the circuit in the Triumph TR7, not the Triumph TR7 V8 that he's in now, but the 2-litre 4-cylinder version. And now look at him flying, 300 horsepower. Now compare how he takes this right-hander with the way John Watson failed to. Lovely, beautiful, punches out the power, crosses the The time is 1:33.5. 1:33.5 for Per Eklund, who is nevertheless third fastest. John Taylor here, second on aggregate, and this could just about be the winning run overall. John Taylor is 4 points behind Patrick Torbay on aggregate. And he'll know it. Over the yump, nearly cartwheels the car. 38-year-old John Taylor, ex-steeplechase jockey, scratch golfer, great all-round sportsman, 12 years in rallies. And he knows this car to perfection. He has driven Ford Escorts like this for some years now, 5 years in rallycross and in rallies. Now the water locks him up, through he goes, and the engine's spitting. He's lost it, he's lost vital time there, and this will not, therefore, be the winning run. That is where John Taylor has undoubtedly lost the chance of victory in the EATON YALE Rally Sprint of 1979. And that puts the chance of overall success squarely at the feet of Patrick Torbay, who will be up shortly. So, John Taylor's run damaged, if not destroyed, by the water, as was Per Eklund's in the opposite direction. Oh dear, John Taylor will be fuming behind the wheel of the Ford Escort. Engine running cleanly enough now, but he's lost vital seconds. 1:31.2 target time, that of Tony Pond. Second fastest, Ari Martin at 1:31.8. And 1:41.4 is John Taylor's time. Grand Prix driver Alan Jones on the right as you look at the car, because it's a left-hand drive car. He is third fastest on aggregate, and Per Eklund has finished his run, and when I say finished, I mean finished it in a good time. 1:33.5 because he got through the water. It's still conceivable that Alan Jones, if he puts up a very good time indeed, could win over... No, it isn't. That's it. Alan Jones has lost too much time, undoubtedly, there to enable him to come through and win. Although he keeps going, he just caught it, cleared the tyres, gets it going again. But Alan Jones, third place on aggregate with 46 points, is challenging a target time in this direction of Tony Pond, 1:31.2. Challenging hard, but now's the real challenge as far as he's concerned, because he has still got to tackle the water. And he, like Eklund, keeps to the right. Undoubtedly, Per must have said to him, keep to the right. When you get to the water, the car will dip, but you'll be all right. And Alan Jones has done just that, but he's lost a lot of time when the car came to a standstill further back along the course. But he keeps it going, and he's coming up to the fastest part of the course now. Round the left-hander, now into the dry section, uphill, over the crest, then down. And Alan, who was saying between runs that he finds the transition from Grand Prix cars and the saloon that he was driving earlier on, the Sports Saloon TR7 Coupe, very difficult to adjust to. But he's doing it well here. This is the last corner as far as he's concerned, the right-hander. See how his time compares with that of Per Eklund. 1 minute. Oh, slowing right down. 1:45.1, and that must have destroyed it as far as Alan Jones is concerned. So the likely winner is this man sitting on the right as you look at the picture. It is Patrick Torbay, 29-year-old Frenchman from Cannes, who is leading on aggregate by 4 points, or was when this stage began. If he beats 1:45.1, he will win. So, Patrick Torbay, the clocks are running, watching this extremely good-looking and very personable Frenchman, Patrick Torbay from Cannes. One minute 45.1 is Patrick Torbay's target, knowing that if he's quicker than that, he should be, because on his first run, he did 1 minute 35.8, and he's brilliantly through the water. Lovely, and look at the car. Patrick has found the right switch to get the windscreen wipers going, and that's no mean achievement because he's totally strange to this car. He's got a 10-second cushion on this run compared with his first run, and he clips the tyres. That's all right. Onto the slippery bit. Now into the finishing stages, up the hill. Now the quick bit, down to the right-hander at the end, after which he will see the banner. The car is running clean and true. Patrick Tambay, 1 minute 45.1 target time to win. And as long as he doesn't lose it as Alan Jones did, and he hasn't, he's kept it going, it looks like victory for Patrick Tambay. And his time is 1:35.4. So Patrick Tambay has won. Grand Prix driver Patrick Tambay wins the EATON Yale Rally Sprint with 66 points.